Okay, so the new moon is coming again. And it's the new moon in Aquarius this month. So I figured I'd do the cards again, see what's coming up for you in the next moon cycle. These cards are really fancy and pretty, and I don't use them all that much. But hopefully you think they're really pretty to look at. They feel really nice, actually. Really smooth. These cards are a little more abstract than a lot of my other decks. A lot of colors and more esoteric kind of concepts. Anyway, so it really feels like everything's kind of, you can see everything's kind of splattered all over the place right now. And it feels like, you know, maybe everything around you, it's kind of a mix of things that feel half-formed and things that you haven't started yet, and everything feels kind of hard to get into a box, and, you know, hard to really compartmentalize and be like, okay, I'm gonna complete one thing, get really good at one thing, you know, put it in this part of my mind, move on to the next thing. You know, it feels hard to create those boxes, to finish one thing before you start another thing, to feel confident in one thing going on in your life when something else feels like it's kind of spilling all over the floor. Like, it just feels like on that energetic level, things are kind of messy, or that you might be feeling that way going into the new moon cycle for the next month or so. And it's not that there's anything wrong with that, it's just, you know, sometimes it's easy to feel really frustrated. I'm actually getting like this really bad headache coming in while I'm saying this. Maybe this is the kind of thing that causes you to get like tension headaches. It's just so easy to get frustrated, to feel agitated when it's like nothing is coming together really neatly. And, you know, there's all this different stuff coming up, and it just feels like a mess all over the place, and I don't think you like messes. Seen how neatly you keep everything organized. So it's like, you know, you think you got a handle on one thing, and then something else spills over in another area of life. Or even if it's just like at work, you know, you're working on one thing, and then something that, you know, you have to do something else, and it's like all, you know, various ways. It's not neat. It feels all over the place. It feels like you'd rather just focus on one thing and get it done, get it down really good. But it's like everything's partially finished, only gets to be worked on part way at a time. And that can be frustrating. But you just have to trust that, this is just a phase that things are going through right now. You might have that messy, scattered month or two where it feels like you have to tidy everything up and, your head's spinning around, you have to keep looking in every direction. But that's something that's going to be sorted out over the next couple of months. So you just have to hang in there, get through it, deal with things the best that you can, try to find some organization in the chaos. And, just know that sometimes when things are overwhelming, this is how the universe decides what needs to be weeded out of your life and what needs to be kept, Some things kind of seem to fall apart, but you didn't need them around. They were meant to kind of just fizzle out of your life, or have you be like, I can't deal with that, not worth it. And it helps you, as you deal with a bunch of things at once, be like, yeah, I want to focus on this. I don't want to focus on this. I see now that this one thing is my priority because it's the one thing that's bothered me the most that I haven't had the time to focus on as much as I like, that I haven't gotten completed. So, in this confusing time, it can actually help you clear things up and see the light and understand more what your drive is right now, what you're being pulled to, what's really important, because I feel like you're actually in some need of that right now. Like, there's some things that are bothering you, there's some things, there's a bunch of little new things, little old things, and they don't all match, they don't all go together, and you want a more cohesive vision where for sure, like you want to whittle it down to only, these people, these focuses, these hobbies, this path. And this is just going to help you sort out all, like, the loose stuff that you want to let go of, or that you don't care if it lets go of you. And in that chaos, you're going to find something much more succinct when you come out the other side of it. It makes sense. It's clear. It's so much more. It's just, everything feels better in your life because you know where it goes and you know what you want. And you've managed to get rid of that clutter, like when you go through a closet or something, you organize it and you throw out everything you don't need. You find things you were looking for. And I feel like that energy kind of lasts through into April. And I told you, things are really looking up for you around April. And I think part of that is coming out of a couple months of this sort of loaded, splattered energy and into something that makes perfect sense for you, and it finally feels like you're seeing really clearly, and like all the changes that you've been making past year or several months, like it's all coming together, and suddenly the vision is obvious, and you're like, yeah, this is the feeling I was going for, this is what I did everything for, this is finally a vision of what I want my life to be, and I know what I can work towards now. So, within this frustrating, frenetic sort of time, you're going to realize that it's all for a reason, that it's really a blessing in your life to go through this uncomfortable time in order to come into a much happier, more peaceful, solidified state of mind, vision for what you want in the future. So, see, it's messy, but it's really very pretty, try to find the beauty in what's going on right now. And, see if you can keep this sort of perspective in mind when things are frustrating you. And I also want to see what would come up with this deck. This is an astrology-based deck. It has all the different houses and signs and planets. Alright, this is obviously a planet card. Uranus is actually the planet that rules the sign of Aquarius. And we're in the time of Aquarius right now, starting the Aquarian new moon cycle. So that's kind of fitting. So this planet is in line with, the energy of Aquarius. It's unusual. It's about doing things differently, seeing things differently, what makes a person, a situation unique. Seeing things in a different, more unusual sort of way sometimes. And I feel like, you've made a really big push to change stuff over the past year, to really get into a new feeling, move towards being a different kind of person, making big life changes, not looking back, focusing more on the moment, and the future momentum. And, in order to really implement this energy, you're going to want to make sure that you don't stagnate mentally in your mind, that you don't stagnate in your routine, that, you're actively looking for new ways to go about things, which isn't even necessarily about, crazy new things to do. It's about the way that you see things, the opening up your third eye. Maybe you're doing something that you've done a lot, that you used to do in the past, and you don't want it to feel old, you don't want to feel stuck and just trapped in that energy, but this is where it's important, like I said, to train your third eye to open, to see things in a new way, and be like, how can I shift the energy, get a better outcome this time than I got last time when I did it, a month ago, a year ago, 10 years ago. Not how is the situation different, how am I different? And how am I going to bring my own unique energy into the situation to make the outcome more favorable, to make the moment more enjoyable? So really be innovative, especially I think when you deal with people. Be open, ask different questions than maybe you're used to. React to people differently, keep an open mind. Don't be stubborn and closed off and be like, oh, I definitely know what this person means or what they want, or I'm going to say what I always say, have the same response when people ask me for something or when they ask me a question or my opinion. It's kind of the time to get weird, get different, experiment, see what works. And you actually have your moon in Aquarius. So you have that, Uranus, Aquarian energy ingrained in you, and I believe you're also an Aquarius rising. So this is an energy that you can feel really at home in, It's kind of like an alien energy, someone who's very different and who goes about things, lives their life differently than the average person, who thinks outside of the box. And they say Aquarians, people with a lot of Aquarius energy, are kind of those cosmic aliens. And they're meant to bring something new down to planet Earth. And show people a new way by being different. So, don't close yourself off to that energy now. If you want to see a different outcome, if you want things to change, if a situation, a person, whatever is boring you, you be the one to bring something new into that dynamic, into the environment. Shift the energy yourself. Because you've naturally got that Aquarian energy inside of you that makes you really adept at doing that. You don't like the way something's going, and be the one to change it. Don't wait on anyone else to do it. You change it, you be spontaneous, you defy people's expectations of you. Don't be afraid to just switch things, turn them around, turn them on their head, right? There's always a new way of looking at something, a new way of reacting to something, responding. There's always a new person to be. And sometimes it's those changes that feel the most uncomfortable to us that we're like, can I really do that? Can I really act that way? Can I really say that? Can I really express myself and be true to myself and not be judged by someone? It's those pushes, those self-expressions that yield the best results, that make us feel the most free, the most open, that really open the door to change things in our life. So, when you feel called to something, don't give in to the trepidation. Just be like, that's something in me that wants to be expressed, or it's an idea that I have that I want to see through. And just go for it and see what happens. It's okay to be a little unusual. I think that's what brings the most into our lives. And it's actually the one card that the picture's on the back of all of them. And let me know if there's any cards that I use that you really like. Any of these ones, the moon cards, the animal cards, or like the tarot cards. You can let me know if there's any deck you really like and I can use them more often. Trying to show you some different ones. Anyway, that's all.